My name is Dudo and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and I got a whole bunch of Tacks Pro gear, so let's talk about it. Quick little story time here. So I was actually lucky enough to order the Tacks Pro set pretty much in January of this past year, and I had my order show up towards the end of March, beginning of April, and I actually used this set for the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, kind of in that big playoff push with the Dallas Stars, working through a lot of injury skates. So I had the full set of pads, glove, and blocker. So the first piece I actually had has this black nylon on it. So I had the full set, pad, glove, and blocker, used it through April and May. I actually got to use it in the Dallas Stars alumni game where Vern Fiddler scored on me. I did get to use that set, and I actually had an issue with the pads. And the folks at CCM were super kind. They let me reorder the pads, change a few small things on them, and they took that set back for research purposes. So I'm really glad I was able to do that. So while I have the one blocker here, I actually have another blocker right here that looks just like it, but we have some Kelly green accents on the back instead of the black. So let's talk about some of those differences here. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, so to greatly help grow the channel. And then of course at the end, please comment down below and let me know what you think about the Tacks Pro gear. I did just want to talk about the line here, is that we have the Tacks Pro and the Tacks. They are two different models, two different price points, so to speak. The Tacks Pro is going to be that pro level for NHL, NCAA, Major Junior, for those levels. And then the Tacks gear is the senior line equivalent to the CCM E7.9. I do plan on reviewing the actual Tacks senior line, in the future months. But for now, I am going to focus on the Tacks Pro. The Tacks line does replace the Axis. You have the Axis 1 and 2, and then the XF Pros. So this Tacks line is continuing that lineage, but is totally different from the Axis line. There's a lot of big changes inside of it. Here I have both of my Tacks Pro blockers, and the graphic looks pretty identical here. The colors are white. We have Kelly green, which is basically their version of the Stars Victory green, black accents, and silver logos. And when I spin everything around, you're going to see that I have a few different accent colors across the back, but they look pretty darn close. But before I go over those spec differences, I did just want to tell you what's new about the Tacks Pro block. I know it's tougher to see down here underneath underneath of the silver logo, but the biggest thing they have is the light core blocker. This is a lot lighter than their previous models. CCM designs their blockers to be a lot lighter to counteract that stick weight, so you can really feel it here. This thing is super light. It's not really like thin like some of the older Eagle Fusion models and old school models like that, but it definitely is thinner compared to some other True and even like the Bauer two-piece model. But it has a lighter core in here. Then you have some new palm changes, some new palm material. They call it their HEXA Plus, which is actually this black overlay. So this HEXA Plus material is super comfortable. It's very plush. It helps in durability, but doesn't really bunch up in the hand like some of the other companies that have thicker palms. So it's very noticeable here, and I really like that. You're going to get that across all the stock Tacks Pro gear. Next, you're going to get a new finger wrap segment here, as that these pieces will come across the fingers a little bit more, and of course you get the D3 on the finger, but very protective down low here. And then the final part that you're going to see is this flex motion cuff. So this cuff is super wide open. You have the elastic setting right here, and this Velcro. You can actually, tighten or loosen the cuff. I like my blocker cuffs. Wow, I like my blocker cuffs super loose, so that's why I keep it nice and loose here. But between these two blockers here, they're pretty much identical specs other than that nylon color difference. And I did that just because at the time that I ordered this set, I wasn't aware that the Kelly Green nylon was available. I knew the Kelly Green Gen Pro was available, so I decided to get the Kelly Green Gen Pro here and add in a few extra Kelly Green Gen Pro zones as well. But these are pretty much your standard stock blockers. The biggest change for me is that I did the SUREGRIP base palm, not the full HEXA palm all the way throughout, as I really like that SUREGRIP style. It is very tight because I did the intermediate palm on it. I wear a 13-inch player glove, so the intermediate palm is perfect for me. Keep my fingernails a little shorter, so I'm not really worried about anything poking through over here. They have nice stretch gussets on the fingers, so it's very comfortable, very movable. Flex thumb on the blocker, so it's very easy to hold onto a stick, and the rebounds have been flying off of this thing. The biggest negative to me is that with that light core, I tend to feel pucks more on the hand. Not like it's breaking my hand or hurting anything, but I am very hypersensitive to feeling pucks come off of this blocker. Now that we have talked about the blocker, let's talk about the differences in the glove. Looking at some of the stock specs here, I am going to do my best to show them despite me having a little bit of a custom glove. They have their new Vortex Double T, so you can actually see a little bit of that Vortex kind of like call out, if you will. It's kind of like imprinted in the material right here. It's basically a brand new designed Double T for CCM. It creates like a better shape to the pocket, better depth. I did relace it right here, but I think stock it was still pretty solid, but it's a new Double T for them. They're calling that the Vortex. Then they have their SENSAGRIP palm, which is basically a new material that comes across the inside of the hand to kind of help pull the glove closed. I do have the SENSAGRIP liner right here with a few SUREGRIP accents, but this is still phenomenal. It feels great on the hand. Combined with a CROSSFORM, it's very comfortable. That will be a stock feature. Next, they have their light core with their D30. So again, just like the blocker where they're reducing a lot of weight, they reduce as much weight in the glove as possible to try to keep it lighter as you continue to use it. So it's a light core built. I forgot where they put the little logo on the outside of the cuff right here. So it is a little bit of a lighter glove. And then it does have D30 on the inside. You can see that orange tag. So you are going to get D30 that's kind of throughout the stitching lines right through here. So you're going to see that all the way throughout. So this is going to be your 590 game ready with D30, but you will get D30 stock on the Tacks Pro gloves. Next, you have that CROSSFORM strap across the inside, basically taken from the old Axis 1, Axis 2, the 581, 591 gloves. Super comfortable on the back of the hand. You still can get traditional strapping if you like it, but this CROSSFORM feels great. Kind of feels like an extra glove pulling your hand nice and tight on the inside. So it's very plush, very comfortable. You will get that stock, and I do have that here. Next, your flex motion cuff. So this is super redesigned that when you put your hand across the inside of it, it is dramatically reduced. It does not stick up nearly as much. So you can kind of see that shape right here. It allows for great movement, wrist movement and flexibility, and it really allows you to articulate your hand to get it where you need to go. Again, a stock feature, and I really like it here. So talking about the graphic on the glove here, I did a little bit of a different zoning when compared to the pads and the blocker. When you kind of keep the matching graphic all the way throughout, you would actually get the small little spike on the blocker. That black zone would be this long line right here, and that small corner of the blocker and small corner of the pads would actually cover the entire palm. So I did not want to have that much color across the palm, so I actually ended up going with a different graphic on the glove, and I think it matches pretty well, but it definitely is a little bit different and than the pads and blocker. The other thing too is that I actually did backing zone 2 is actually going to be white. So like the side of the thumb right here, back of the cuff, a few other small accents that would tie into the pads where I actually had green, or on the last set black. I did white. So on the glove and blocker, I have a little bit more white on them than compared to the pads. So it's not a perfect complete, just like click that button to copy all the colors over. It's not like a perfect match. I kind of designed it to match, but I think it looks pretty solid here. So I did just want to talk a little bit of story time on this here. So I was actually lucky enough to test this new 590 feel, this new, I don't want to say like it's a new 590 break, but there was so much thought that went into this glove and even the blocker that CCM actually let me test them honestly 2 years ago at this point. So I'm really happy to get my hand in this, and I'm really happy with how it feels and everything. I really like it. It's basically like one of the best 590s I think that CCM has ever come out with. So whenever you're shopping in a store, you can't necessarily, have someone throw pucks at you, take it out for a demo, whatever. You just put your hand into it and you start snapping it closed. So CCM really went through and tried to make a glove that would close super easy off the shelf, kind of give you that snappy feeling, and really create some comfort foam across the inside. They kept their CROSSFORM strap to kind of, feel comfortable in the hand, but they really worked on that closure and that feel, and they heavily redesigned the backhand that when you close the glove, it doesn't necessarily start to, stick up a whole bunch or kind of affect that closure. They really did their best to make sure that it aids and helps the glove. So I'm really happy with how this glove came out, and I'm really happy to finally get to use it and talk about it after having my hand in it almost 2 years ago. One thing I did want to talk about though is that I'm actually not going to be showing off the closure here. I'm actually going to have someone else do it for me by putting on this glove. Reason being is because I have some really bad tennis elbow that is going on here, and in my brachioradialis, that's giant muscle coming across the forearm. I took a few shots to it and it's a little bit bruised, it's a little tight. So I'm going through some physical therapy thanks to the folks up at Chirosport. So I'm actually not going to be showing it off here. I'm actually going to have someone stand in for me. But this closure, trust me, it's super snappy. It works really well, and you get that great 590 seal that people like. It still has a larger cuff, kind of acts like that second blocker to seal in towards the body, but it still has a great closure to it. So now here is that video of the glove being closed. So going over my specs on this glove, it is pretty much stock. You're going to get your stock double T, you're going to get your stock CROSSFORM strap across the inside, the stock 590 brake. The biggest difference for me is that I relace the T myself, just the spines between. So on both gloves, I did white referee lace. I really want to make this, wide, really soft. And then on the green back glove, I did skate lace. Stock CCM does waxed skate lace in their gloves. I don't love the waxed skate lace. I think it actually hurts the glove closure a little bit, so I do plan on redoing this at another time with regular skate lace or even the polyester lace. And on the black backed glove, I have the silver lace throughout. So did just want to show off the difference here of the two pocket materials. I always talk about this, but the polyester lace allows you to see more through. The skate lace creates a little bit of a softer catch, but that's that difference right here, and I hope you guys can see that on it. CCM again has entirely redesigned this. They also let you customize the color of this strap, which I think is pretty cool. They do it in their matching core colors for their knee elastic. But if you undo the backhand right here, you're going to get a little bit of a different loop right here. You're not getting the standard pieces that pull out. It's actually on like a little Velcro loop, so you can actually tighten up the thumb if you would like to, which is a very interesting design. I really like that. They redesigned the wrist area, so it's very mobile. You can really get your hand where you need it to. And then this CROSSFORM strap on the inside, this is basically what CCM had on their 581, 591 gloves. It's very soft, kind of like big pad that wraps across the back of the hand. You have one strap that comes across, and these two tiny ones down here that you can pull tighter or looser. So it is very tight on the hand because I have an intermediate palm. I always prefer those intermediate palms. And the biggest issue I had with the CROSSFORM strap on the inside is that this soft material kept rolling in on my hand. So I actually had Newman help stitch it close here so it stopped rolling. It's a really weird thing that happened on the CROSSFORM, but every time I put my hand into it, like the material would like roll under itself. So I tried to have them stitch it back so it stopped doing that. But this is what the glove looks like, and again, my hand is, my arm is going through it right here, but I'll just pull the glove closed just to show you that closure so you can see what it looks like. Pretty much your standard 590, but super plush, super comfortable, presents well, nice and deep pocket. I really like this Tacks Pro glove. Really like how I can adjust it to my hand, and it's really nice having two of them where I can just put this on. If it gets sweaty halfway through the use, I can pull my hand out of it, pop the other one on, and it's going to feel pretty much identical. It's going to give me that same closure, that same feel I'm looking for. So I'm really happy with how these Tacks Pro gloves came out. So the very first thing I'll say about these pads is I absolutely adore them. I think this is probably one of the best pads I have used. Before I even talk about some of the stock specs and other things, just have to get that out of the way. I know in my Fuse video, I talked about how that's kind of the standard for me. This replaces it. This pad is just the perfect combination of pieces from what I've already loved about CCM. It has kind of like a Brian's unique shape to it, has some lighter features into it. I'm getting a phenomenal seal. Like this to me surpasses the fused pad. So this is definitely up there for me. So the biggest change you're going to see between the old Axis pads and the new Tacks Pro pads is they have dramatically changed the outside profile and actually the inside core as well. So this is their Fusion 150 core. I did it in the stiff profile with a stiff boot. I did the single break below, but I have the MAXREBOUND stiff face on it. And honestly, I have never flexed these pads. Like, I literally took them out of the box and have been using them. This is just the shape that they are. I really like a stiff boot. I really like stiff rebounds, and these have just been unreal for me. I've really loved it. The other cool addition to this pad is reducing this outer gusset right here. I will do my best to show it off, but instead of the pad coming out and having this hard 90-degree angle like a lot of the other pads do in the market, this has dramatically been reduced to save a lot of weight, and it does not affect rotation. It does not negatively affect how the leg channel fits. This has been a very welcome change, and I hope a lot more companies start doing stuff like this in the future. Super flat face design on the pads, nothing raised up. I think the graphic is very simple, very clean. I really like what Vince did here in designing it. I really like the little tiny pop of color I did here on the bottom. Makes me feel very tall, but still gives a little bit of an accent color down here. With this MAXREBOUND on here, like, I am sending rebounds out hard. And I'm sealing really well to the ice. So this stiff face, stiff design, like, it's definitely not going to be for everyone, but if you want to send out rebounds as hard as possible, this is definitely the way to go. Inside edge is going to have your cross glide technology. Yes, I did the CGT, and I know what you're thinking. There's been speed skin, there's been fast glide, there's diamond glide, there's, you know, all these other materials that all these companies have. I don't think this is as good as quick slide, but I think with a harder HD foams on the inside edge of the pad with cross glide, this is probably like the best controlled and the best sliding pad I have ever used. So with quick slide, you get a super fast slide, but I feel like I have no control over it. Same with the Warrior slide plates when I used them like 4 years ago. Super fast slide, zero control. This gives me the fastest slide with the most control. So I think this is some of the best sliding material that's out there. This is way better than speed skin. I think it's way better than the original, you know, fast glide. I've not tried diamond glide yet, but I think out of all the ones I've tried, this has been the best. And with all those other versions that have come out, you know, this is kind of like the third version that has come out. So I'm sure a lot of people are like, ah, well, I've already used speed skin, it sucked, whatever. This is nothing like it. It is totally different. This is totally revamped. So I definitely recommend the cross glide, and this would be stock on the Tacks Pro pad. Another big change is the knee block. So this is kind of like a pseudo one-piece knee block where the knee block kind of butts up to the back of the pad but does not go inside the pad. So it's not a true one-piece design, but it does give you a great seal, and it doesn't really allow the pad to like over or under flex, which has been a really welcome change. And to kind of help prevent a little bit of that like counter movement and stuff, they've actually added some extra foams right here. So you can actually see this little tiny rounded piece right here that doesn't allow the pad to like, you know, or doesn't allow the knee block to fully move into the pad. Very comfortable, very smart that they did this, and it really helps for a great seal. Last thing that you would get stock on the pads that I did a little bit different here is I changed up the leg channel strapping. They call it the Adapt Fit 360, which normally would have your normal knee strap, your normal DRS knee strap, this outer Velcro closure strap, and then you actually have this little piece on the inside of the leg right here that goes across the calf that attaches here. I keep mine very loose. I have big calf muscles, but I keep this very loose. But normally the 360 would have another one at the bottom that comes across, and it actually goes in the opposite direction, where it goes from the outside of the leg and attaches on the inside. So again, opposite of this one. Kind of think like a true FRS. It's basically, or like, you know, like on what's on a Vaughn Ion, like you're getting those two lower and upper straps. I do not like the lower strap, so I opted for it to be removed on here, but you're still getting the upper Adapt Fit 360. This is super comfortable, super easy to put on, and I really like the performance out of it. Another difference from the stock pad is I just did their standard toe bridge. They have a new one that is called the Lock and Push that I actually had on the black set of pads. Think just like True's, you know, like new toe bridge and their new toe design. It's meant to help in RVH. But I found that how I wear my toe ties was very loose and kind of flopping around. So I actually modded it on that original set, and I just decided to go with the stock toe bridge here. I don't really need to do a lot special mods on my gear. Like a stock toe bridge and skate lace just works really well for me, so I want to keep that going. So that's why I opted for it here on the custom set. So the big changes for my entire set are the toe bridge, the no lower calf strap, and then I did the stiffer boot and the stiffer face. And then of course the single break outer. I just like having the look of the single break, although I've never flexed these pads. But those are the biggest changes on the custom gear versus the stock set. One final hidden change I did want to talk about is this extra little pillow on the inside of the calf right here. So I know it's, something that not a lot of people really focus on or talk about. They kind of expect every company to have something like this. But CCM, they have this extra little pillow that's built on the inside of the calf here. A lot of other companies have pillows and whatever else to try to help this. But with how CCM combines this material and how this sits right here, it allows for like such a flush seal to the ice that I know some people have actually said it feels like they're landing on a puck when they drop down. Like it's so protective and they really feel it. But I feel like that gives me the confidence in the seal that nothing is going to squeak underneath. Again, it still is NHL spec with this little half introduction right here with having it laced down. But I wear my calf really loose. And this is a little secret amongst some of the other pro guys I've learned, that if you wear a looser calf and you go to drop down to the ice, that looser calf will actually help seal the ice a little bit better. As where if you pull it really tight, it starts to pull it up a little bit tighter on the leg, doesn't allow it to drop down as fast. So I've learned just to try to keep this a little bit looser, get some of the extra special seal. That's a cool little hidden feature on the Tacks Pro pad. So quick little story time as I haul these pads like a baby. So the reason why I had to send back my first set is because when I get to work with CCM, get to work with some of these companies, I get stuff that's called like pre-prod or pre-production. So I was actually in like the very first run of people that got Tacks Pro gear. So when I got it, it's, like really cool that CCM lets me use it and abuse it and really like share feedback. But it was a little bit more for like R&D purposes. Again, I already talked about how I used that glove way back when, got the pads and had a few issues with them. But the people over there were super kind to reorder a set for me and let me change some of those specs to try to, kind of help make sure that it doesn't ever happen again. So the biggest change I did is that I did a 32 1.5. The original ones were 32 2. And while this is not the thinnest thigh rise in the world, it is very stiff and rigid. Like, honestly, like can't really like flex it. Like this is a very stiff pad. With it being like this thickness, I was having some overlap issues where it's kind of overlapping too much. The pads were hitting one another, so I decided to remove it down a little bit. And I think that kind of helped some of that, some of those like flex issues I was having, some of those torsion issues I was having. But I think the smaller pad works out phenomenally well for me. 32 1.5 is definitely that sweet spot for me. But again, just talking about some of the positives of this pad here, probably the stiffest rebounds I've ever had, some of the best seal I've ever had, the best slide I've ever had. The overall height is phenomenal. Like this pad just checks off everything for me. I really like this reduced outer gusset. I really like the simple strapping. They're super easy to put on, and man, like this has just like, it's been a real treat to use. So if you really like stiff pads, you really like stiff rebounds, and you really want to try out the CCM line, this is way different from the previous generations and is definitely worth checking out. Great seal, great slide, great rebounds. Like I did all the extra stiff stuff, but I can only imagine the stock stuff still being great. Like if I'm like clearing pucks out of the zone just based off of shots off the shin, I'm sure the stock pad would be pretty close to that. So I'm really happy with how these have been performing for me so far. So while you're going to see some clips out on the ice, I did just want to say that these pads Glove and Blocker, I have used them for only 3 weeks at the time of this recording. They have quite a few puck marks on them. I've used them one time in my private group that you're seeing in these clips here, and then all the other times I've used them have been with professionals, NHL, AHL, ECHL, even some major juniors and some draft pick guys. But I really had a great test on these. I've gotten the same rebounds, the same seal, the same slide, the same everything with those two different groups of shooters. Yes, even though I've only used this set for 3 weeks, like I'm very confident to say that I can't wait to continue to use it. Some of the biggest positives I have are The size of 32 plus 1.5 is perfect for me. I think the graphic looks super cool. I'm getting the best slide, the best seal, the best rebounds, the best glove closure, the best glove feel, best weight out of the glove and blocker. Like overall, like this set like checks off so many of the boxes for me. It's so different from what I had in the Axis, and even like when I tried the E-Flex 7s. Like it's a phenomenal pad. All the things I wish I could have changed in the Axis, they finally changed in this Tacks pad, and I feel like for all the changes they have, this is really meant for all the people shopping at retail to get better shape out of the pad, better slide, better seal, better rebounds, better glove feel. This Tacks line really has it all. The big complaint I have on the gear is that I wish I could get Kelly green binding. That would have tied everything together for me. I know it's not an option that CCM offers right now. Maybe it is something they'll add in the future. Maybe they'll add in some extra cross guide colors, maybe even do that Kelly green. I'd love a full Kelly green set, like Kelly green everything with white logos. I think that would look super sick, but I really like everything else about the pad. I just wish that color was offered. I wish the graphic looked a little different on the glove. Don't love the total orientation with it. I think I was able to match it really well. But those are really just two nitpicky things. And of course, like I talked about the blocker, like feeling some pucks through it, and having a 590 that doesn't quite match with my brain. Like those are the only things I can really nitpick about the set. Everything else is like 9.9 out of 10. Like I don't want to say 10 out of 10, but like it checks so many of the boxes. I just want to give a huge thank you out to CCM, to Kaylee and Matt, and the monkey rep Rob for helping me go through that warranty process, to help ask for my feedback, to do special video calls with me, tell me some of the issues they found. Like they overshared with me, and they've been super helpful, and I really love their service. Kaylee helping get this set for me, Matt stepping in and helping kind of take over that warranty procedure. I mean, these people have been absolutely phenomenal, so their customer service is absolutely top notch, and I can't wait to continue using them. Now, I'd like you to comment down below and let me know what you think about the Tacks set. Were you expecting this many changes in the gear? Did you think it was just be a continuation of Axis? Do you think this glove is going to be as broken in as what I showed here in the video? Please comment down below and let me know about your thoughts. My name is Chris Dudo, and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more about what the NHL goalies were using at the end of the 2025-2026 season, click that breakdown video.